And for more insight into all of this, let's bring in William Lee. William is the chief economist at the Milken Institute and always a welcome guest in our program. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Sean.
Okay, let's step back for just a second, because depending on the week, the issue, the situation, we've heard various goals of this objective behind these proposed tariffs and how they are expected to impact American manufacturing. Now, is it a bargaining tool, or, as Trump has alluded to, a way to bring money, taxes, he says, back in? Or is this a way to really revamp U.S. industry and breathe new life into this nation?
Well, Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent made a nice summary of exactly what the policies are at the Milken conference a couple of weeks ago, and many people, especially big investors, heard him say the point of the tariffs is to be a part of the package of revitalizing the United States and reshaping the global trading system. Revitalizing the United States, smaller government, lower taxes, fewer regulation. The revitalizing the trade system is going to involve some tariffs to protect the investments that come into the United States that we're incentivizing foreign investors to do, and as well to have more bilateral and regional agreements rather than big multilateral trade deals that are not appropriate anymore for 21st century trade. That's the plan. But the restructuring of the United States comes about by bringing investors to invest in the United States, create more jobs here. And these jobs are not going to be the making shirts and the old style 1950s manufacturing that really we don't have a comparative advantage in. Rather, the kind of investments that he got from promises in Saudi Arabia and Middle East and SoftBank in Japan, where they said they'll invest hundreds of billions and up to trillions of dollars in energy, in artificial intelligence, in some of the high-tech industries. And a lot of the nice problems that we'll be having is that we may not have enough labor to fuel all these jobs that are being created. And that way, I think we're going to be revising our immigration policies to be able to have foreign workers come in where needed.
Okay, that's the plan. So can it work? And talk about these specific industries and a little more about the ones that Trump believes will benefit the most from reshoring manufacturing, bringing manufacturing back to the United States, because a lot of people say it's just not going to happen. It takes too long to create and build a factory, whether it's steel, that he's also wanted that back, and these high-tech jobs that you're talking about, that's not going to crop up overnight.
It won't come up overnight. In fact, I think the United States can learn a lot from China in how they were able to build hospitals and factories almost overnight during COVID. And some of those technologies, I think the U.S. would love to be importing from China. So those technologies are there, and they're to be implemented. Now, some of the strategic industries that President Trump really wants to preserve for the United States, even though it's more costly to do here, would be steel manufacturing, a lot of the defense industries needed, like pharmaceuticals and medical supplies, where we cannot depend on just foreign suppliers to meet the needs of these critical industries. So there will be some industries that we want to come back that are more costly to make here than abroad, but that's for national security and national safety concerns. So I think the mix of jobs will be varied, and I think the difference between this plan and what President Biden did in the CHIPS Act is that instead of choosing the industries that we will subsidize, we're going to let the marketplace do it. We'll raise prices on selective industries and see what companies are able to step up to the plate and actually do it.
Okay, William, I've heard it. I know you have heard it. There are a lot of people out there say, look, this just is not going to work. It's not feasible. How do you counter that argument?
I absolutely agree that I think without restructuring the economy in the way that President Trump is promising, the smaller government to release resources that were absorbed by the government into the private sector, to have lower taxes, have fewer regulations to enable a lot of these decisions to be made quickly, and instead of getting bogged down by red tape. Those are absolutely critical parts of the policy package that he's got to pass, and he's got to do it quickly in the next year or so, because by the time midterms come, no one's going to be interested in doing that kind of stuff. So the test of the Trump agenda and whether or not this stuff is going to be feasible is you watch to see if this government shrinks, if taxes go down, and if regulations go down. The last one, the regulations, is the most critical part, because regulations have really made it so difficult for foreign investors to come to the United States, make the factories that they want to make, and employ the people they want to employ.